Welcome back to the shop, everybody. I hope your day's going well. What we got on deck today is we are going to do wall-hung display cabinets. I found a picture on the internet that I actually like. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. And we'll start it off today. I've actually already started rough cutting everything in. We've got some ash. This is ash on the ground here. These are going to be the cabinet backs. This is all riffs on white oak. So it's really pretty. I actually picked an ugly board, but the reason I picked it is it has all this really cool figure and compression in it. So it wasn't a pleasant board to work with, but it is really pretty. So I will suffer a little bit for some of the cutting I had to do. So what we're going to do next here is we are going to cut this all down to size. This is all just rough cut. I've run it through the jointer planer, trued up all the edges, obviously. It's all down to the thickness I want to work with, other than the ones over here. Obviously, those are going to get cut down later. Those are going to be the little extension wings that stick out the sides. So I don't have an exact idea how big those are, so I've left those rough or rougher, and I will cut those down once I get to it. So yeah, this is going to be interesting. We're going to have lots of different kind of jointery and stuff on this. I think it should be fun, and hopefully you guys enjoy it as well. All right, we got everything cut to length and width. Time to start putting this together. So like I said, we're going to do some different jointery, some old jointery. This actually dates back to 3800 BC, and they would have used bronze, but you know, I don't have access to bronze, so I figured galvanized is close enough. No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to do nails and spikes into our very nice wood. So what we're actually going to do is we are going to do blind dovetails, sort of what you use for drawers, but we're going to be hanging this on the wall, so I'm going to place it in the vertical orientation so we have mechanical advantage there. So this is just a test board to set up my blind dovetails. So next what we're going to do is go over to the router jig and start cutting these out. All right, we have made progress. Obviously, the carcasses are somewhat together. I've just roughed them in or roughed them together so that I could do my layout for my sliding dovetails that we're going to use for the connectors. That's what these markings are on each carcass. If you remember from the photo, the cabinets are actually offset from one another. So I guesstimated roughly where that looked like in the photo, and now what I'm going to do is we're going to cut sliding dovetails into each piece, all 8 of them. So the critical are these two. Sliding dovetails have very little tolerance. They have to be quite tight to hold properly, otherwise you get racking in there. So I don't have much room for error. I've done a test cut already. Everything worked out pretty good. So now I just have to make sure that these are identical cuts on these two boards. So these 4 cuts have to be identical. And then we will have these cabinets offset like so, and then the corresponding pieces that will sit inside of that. And then I think it'll look pretty cool. A little bit of a ding right there. All right, so let's get in there and start cutting some sliding dovetails. All right, quick dry fit to make sure I didn't mess anything up, and so far everything is looking good. I have no concerns. The little gap that you see down below is expected. That's the proverbial square peg in a round hole, which we know that that doesn't fit. So what you have to do is you have to cut that key off however much that you need that piece to come forward. And these pieces I cut slightly oversized so that it gave me a little bit of leeway to cut this key back. So I'll probably bring it out about an 1/8 inch over that hole. So whatever that measurement ends up being, we'll cut all the corresponding keys off the same, and everything should line up nice and true. And then we have to dado out the inside here. We have to cut a dado into the two cabinets to accept the panels that what I've made that are yet to be cut to side. And then we can start assembling all of this. It's going to have to be a multi-step assembly, but after doing the test fit there, I'm not too worried about it. So yeah, let's go over to the bandsaw and start cutting some of these keys back. All right, after 37 hours of sanding, not quite that much, but it always feels like it. I'm going to apply finish to the inside of the boxes before I glue everything together. So the blue tape that I've got on there is hiding the dovetail joints, just so that I don't get any oil in there to contaminate it. This stuff's pretty easy to put on, so the tape is probably overkill, but better than safe than sorry. What I'm going to use today, or actually for the whole project, is Osmo 2K oil. Very similar to a lot of the popular brands out there, Rubio Monocoat, any of the two-part accelerator items. So just going to use a tiny bit on here. It's probably enough. I just want to do the insides because trying to rub this stuff on and off inside of a little box is a little bit taxing. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And I'm going to do the same thing, obviously, on the long pieces, but we'll let that set up, give it a quick little buff, and then I'll be able to glue, add glue and put the box together, and then I can work on the outside. Everything's been sanded to, the inside's been sanded to 220. The outside, I took it up to 180, and I'll do 220 as my finish on the outside. But for right now, we're going to do the rest of the panels and then get ready for glue up. All right, here we go. It is definitely not wanting to slide. So I've used this technique with other sliding dovetails. Let's see if it works here. Every once in a while, everything works out just the way you like it, and that was one of those times. I don't think that could have gone much better for my own peace of mind. This one is a little bit, it's a little bit proud. The need. I don't know if that's going to go forward or not. Just a little bit of glue squeeze out, obviously. It might be, I don't think it is, but it might be that the glue hydraulicked into the corner. Let's see. We can't squeeze that in, just a hair more. Yeah, there it goes. Yeah, perfect. And I actually do mean perfect. That worked out, like I said, better than I expected. And it looks pretty square. But yeah, I think that's all I'm gonna do for now. I think what I'll do is I'll check to make sure everything's square, and then I might throw a clamp on it if it's out slightly. But yeah, I think I'll check that as it's still wet. I use Titebond 3, so it gives me a little bit more working time. I'll check for square, and if it's a little bit out, I might throw a clamp on it there just for the next several hours so it'll set up properly, set up square. And then we can glue in the other sections that go in there as well. So there's the wings that stick out. But now that it's all together, once this glue sets up, I have to mortise in the wall mounts that are going to go in there. So I'm going to do a 16-inch on center and mortise in, they're actually bed frame mounts that'll go in there. So that'll be next, and then we'll slide in the last two pieces and then go mount it. All right, what we've got here are bed frame attachments that I'm going to use to attach the cabinet to the wall. I'm going to mortise in this section into the cabinet, and then obviously do the same on the other side. And then this corresponding piece is what actually goes on the wall in the room, like so, screwed straight into a stud. And what I've done is I've put these 16-inch center, because that's what the stud spacing is on the wall. So in theory, once I get these all mortised and screwed into place, and I screw these into the wall at the same height that I want, then I should be able to just pick the cabinet up, line it up with these marks, slide it in, and the whole thing should just drop into place and it's installed. That's my current plan. We'll see how that all goes. All right, let's get in there and start carving out some mortises. So just a side note, as I was mortising or cutting the mortises in with the router, I stopped to reset my router depth, and I was going to use the mortise attachment to do that, and I dropped it. And I spent probably 5 minutes going through my garbage can because I thought it fell into my garbage can. And I emptied my garbage can out and went through every little last piece, looked underneath my workbench, looked everywhere, couldn't find it. And if you're looking at this, you're actually looking directly at it. Yeah, good times. And without further ado, here is the finished unit mounted on the wall. Installation went really well, a little bit finicky using those mortised bed attachments that I used. They only give you about an 1/8 inch of play, and when you're doing it blind like I was, just kind of going by feel, moving the cabinet around, it was definitely a little bit fiddly. I would still use them again for this kind of unit. I really liked how simple it was in the end, but like I said, definitely a little bit fiddly. During the video, I also mentioned I wasn't sure if I was going to use doors or not. I ended up going with tempered glass, so these just both closed like so. I think it's really nice look. I think it completes the unit as a whole. You can still see the Cologne inside there. It's a really nice display. Keep some of the dust off it as well, so you don't have to constantly dust off your shelves. So yeah, that's the entirety. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. I certainly enjoyed making it. And once again, if you like this kind of content, please like, subscribe, and comment. Thanks for watching.